Get testing, Dan.
And it's all sorts of weird stuff
I got a
going
lot
on.
more out of it.
I mean, I really like the arc and the establishment.
you
It's
reckon?
so big you can't comprehend it.
What are we going to start with then?
What are we going to start with? Well, I think we should start with The Bad Batch. And
All right.
again, I mean, it wasn't. It's not the. I don't think it's the best thing, best bits of Clone Wars I've ever seen. But it's good. I'm really enjoying it. It's just good. A bit like Marvel, the Falcon and the Winter Soldier. It's good, solid Star Wars fodder. Can't argue with it. Really enjoyable. Love the way that they've got the Amiga girl character kind of developing and doing stuff on her own and interesting that they're kind of looking at Crosshair as still one of them and in need of salvation. But yeah, it's fantastic stuff. Can't fault it.
It was interesting. They had the recruits, and they're kind of at the moment they're just kind of talking about the switchover between clones to recruits and conscription.
Yeah, I quite like the fact they brought that in, and actually they're kind of exploring that. That's good point. Anyway, that's me. I'm easy pleased, so never going to be disappointed unless they start doing really stuff with it.
Well, it was a solid episode. I mean, it kind of felt very much like I think what was it, the second episode of Mando season 2, which was just kind of its own little contained thing, an episode with the one with the spiders. This kind of had that same kind of vibe. They're kind of they've done their kind of big opening episode and they've done a kind of follow up one on that, and then they're kind of it's little quite contained episodes which I quite enjoyed. Finding the character of Omega less annoying. It's mostly. I think the accent.
Accent.
I mean, I love the New Zealand accent, but I just think the actor is really rubbish. I just don't think he's very good. I know you could say, oh yeah, she's only quite young. It's yeah, but there are quite a lot of child actors who are actually pretty good. Also, usually a lot of the time, for animation, they'll get older people to play younger characters. Ashley Eckstein, quite a bit older than Ahsoka is supposed to be, but you wouldn't know it, hearing her speak. So I kind of think they could have got, if they wanted a New Zealand actor or actress, I don't know what the correct term is, if they wanted a New Zealand voice actor, great, because actually that's very much in line with the same accent that Django had and everything. But just get someone maybe a bit more experienced and better. I don't know. But I don't know. The actual how it's sort of all is it 4 or 5 of them in the Bad Batch? Well, if you don't count Crosshair, I think it's 4 of them on the ship, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I quite like the fact they're just 4 dads basically. Which is just kind of, it's kind of nice. It's very nice and wholesome. I do like that. I'm hoping because it's weird that sometimes there's one thing I like about the kind of Clone Wars / the spin-offs is they do some kind of slightly childish stuff, but then they kind of just go from that to quite surprisingly hard-hitting stuff.
Yeah.
So I quite like the sort of dynamics of it are quite interesting. So I'm hoping that because I don't know if it's a one-off series. I think we've started to see who is the assassin woman who was hanging out with Boba because he saved her life. What's her name?
Oh, I can't remember.
Oh yeah.
We know what we're talking about, but yeah.
Hang on. I'm gonna quickly Google it. So let's just look it up real quick so I know.
What are you doing that? Dan and Elliott, what were your thoughts?
Oh, we're not watching it.
We haven't been watching it because we need to catch up on Clone Wars.
We haven't watched Clone Wars, so we're not watching Bad Batch, mate. We went over this last week.
I I wasn't expecting them to chat because what is her name? I keep looking for Aura Singh, but Fennec Shand. There you go. So Fennec, I think, is starting to show up now. I think she's not saying anything yet, but I think she's part of that 4, now 3. After Crosshair was screw you, just shot him. But I think she's one of those. I think she's the quiet woman in the background.
Interesting.
Pretty sure because the character design looks quite a bit like her. So I think that Ming-Na Wen actually is playing her, if I'm not mistaken. So that and I'm hoping to see a few more well-known Clone Wars characters show up as well. That'd be pretty good. Yeah. So that it's good so far. Keen to see where they go with it. As you said, Neil, it's not the pinnacle of the best Star Wars. I still think the final 4 episodes of Clone Wars,
they were.
they were well up there. But I think it has the potential if they develop the characters enough, and it has the potential to be pretty hard hitting at times. So keen to see what they do next.
There's fairly hard hitting bits in this. I mean, when they found Sol Guerrera's buddies, and they just slaughter a load of unarmed people. You kind of get the evilness of the Empire. But I'm just good Friday morning stuff. Keep it going. The other thing we started watching and really enjoying, which is not sci-fi at all, is The Crown. I don't know if anyone's seen it yet, but but for me, it's a fascinating peek behind the royal. I don't know how accurate it is. I'm assuming it's fairly accurate, because it wouldn't be worth making.
I mean, it'll be dramatised ever so slightly.
Well, yeah,
no, just only a little
just
bit.
a tiny bit.
Got to be done. A bit of dramatisation. But it's a fascinating peek behind the royal curtain and all the kind of political and kind of machinations of the day, and a lot of things that I didn't even realise happened, like the smog of '52, which killed, they reckon, 12,000 people.
Yeah, that was. I had no idea.
I say this big threatening thing was coming. I was thinking, what's going on? What, is it going to be a fucking hurricane? No, it was just weather that basically encased most of London. I think it was most of Greater London in this blanket of smog, and because everyone was just churning out burning coal, it was poisonous. The air was poisonous. I think it lasted like over a week.
Yeah.
Or something, and it just
4 or 5 days.
Yeah, absolute chaos. And
Industrial Revolution.
Yeah. So I never even realised that was part of our history. But it's just the way the way they cast it, I think, is really good. I love the way that I can't remember the name of the actress playing the Queen, but she's got her enunciation. All those and you realise how unique they are to her, the Queen, that way of talking, and she's got that down.
Claire Foy, that's her name.
Claire Foy, that's it. Brilliant.
Yeah, I saw a Wired talk with, I can't remember the name of the guy, but they always get him back because his discussions on enunciation and diction in films and TV are always like really popular. I can't remember his name, but he was saying how, there's a choice you have to make when you're trying to portray real people, is if you do a caricature, a complete replica, or somewhere in between. And the one that he did talking about The Crown, it's funny how it's slightly caricature a lot of the times, and the fact that she nails it so well, and it's believable. You don't feel all the caricature little elements are false in any way. I just thought, considering I haven't seen the show, the clips that they're showing, I was like, that's brilliant. That's perfect.
It is very well made. I'm so far impressed, and it's keeping in interest as well. The only reason we chose it actually was because we usually end up watching stuff when we're eating dinner, and Hannibal, when you're eating, is not always a good combo. Sometimes you think, nah. So I'm going to try and get back in the habit of doing a bit of Crown, a bit of Hannibal. We've kind of stopped doing Hannibal because we're always eating at that time, and it's
have a steak and be like, chewy.
But yeah, I'm just loving it. I think it's brilliantly made. I mean, they've not skimped on the budget. They've got Hans Zimmer composing the score. It's not cheap production, but it's just lovely, spot on. So good stuff.
Cool.
There's Duke of Edinburgh still. I know I said this in the previous episode.
It's
brilliant.
He's spot on, and it's interesting. Obviously, I don't know how true to reality that is, but there's some great moments in it. There's one bit when he comes back drunk from one of his luncheon clubs, and she's got a meeting. The Queen's got a meeting, and he says, "Well, why don't you cancel the meeting?" I said, "Why would I do that?" And whatever her accent is, I can't do it. And he said, "Well, maybe it's time for you to get on your knees." And she smiled.
That was brilliant. I love that. You don't
really ever see the Queen like that, I just think, that's good.
That little smile she kind of just cracked a smile right at the end. It's like that was priceless. Love that bit. Very good. Well, how far did you get through Hannibal then? How many episodes do you watch now?
I think we're on episode 4 or 5. memory. I can't remember. I think the
Okay, so I'm like,
it was the guy who
Bloody,
the Death Eagle or whatever it's called
bloody
himself.
eagle.
oh yeah,
Yeah.
You've
Bloody
seen
eagle
Vikings enough to know this.
Oh, that was ages ago. He does it to himself.
To himself?
Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I don't think they do the ribs, but he did. He just flayed his back and.
How can you do that yourself?
How can you do your back?
That's
Fucking
insane.
idea.
How the
I was thinking, how do you do that and then string yourself up? That takes some more. That takes some. Yeah,
that's
I know.
commitment,
I know.
that is, bloody hell.
You have to have a kind of like a back scratcher with a sharp blade goes, zzz, and then I don't know. No, don't get me on the technical detail. It didn't show that, so I don't know.
Yeah, all right.
I think that's the last one we did from memory. But yeah,
that's because that there's a lot of, again, you're kind of seeing Will's mental state deteriorate quite badly because he's starting to get more what's the words, buggered up. I don't know what you want to call it. But Will's not doing, again, as the thing goes along, Will's just doing worse and worse and worse, and you just kind of feel really bad for him. Have you found out what's going on with him yet?
I think I can tell. I mean, my sense, and I might be wrong, is that he's Hannibal is kind of grooming him into a serial killer, basically. That's what I think is happening. So be interesting to see what it goes. Don't tell me because
No.
Yeah,
that's what's going on.
It's very interesting to hear your theory though, because I've just watched. I think I've already seen it before, but I'd forgotten a lot of it. So I'm on about episode 9 or 10. And this isn't really a spoiler, but Eddie Izzard shows up.
Yay!
Yeah, we've seen the Eddie Izzard one. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
He makes a good serial killer.
I bet he does. Oh, bless him. Our boy Eddie.
Oh boy, Eddie. Yeah.
Love Eddie.
Now all we need is Bill Bailey, and we've got the full set. Of them.
Bill Bailey as a serial killer would be brilliant.
I don't know. He could be. I wouldn't. I'd cast him anywhere, but yeah. Bill Bailey's a serial killer. I could see him in kind of that sort of role.
I can see you as a serial killer. Yeah.
I think the thing is, I quite like
we can pay him.
or casting comedians as
Crazy
serious characters. I love all that sort of stuff because it's just so unexpected.
Yeah.
And actually casting as the Izzard is able. I think it's able to be.
Eddie Izzard does quite a few characters where he's not playing like a goofy role. He's quite good at that. Surprisingly
I keep seeing Steve Fry turn up in things.
Yeah.
He's in so Sid is watching what's this thing called Bones? It's a kind of crime drama, US crime drama.
Yeah.
Ran for tons of seasons.
Massive.
And he keeps turning up in that. And it's quite I love that sort of thing.
Yeah, it's great. And they sort of turn up and you're like, hang on a minute, you're supposed to be on a stage telling jokes.
Like off QI, what are you doing there? Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, QI, and that's a regular thing that we watch if we don't want to watch Hannibal, is just with Sandy Toxic. So Sandy Toxic for PM. She is just wonderful. I love her. Anyway, so that is main focus of my viewing. I've done a little bit more Smoke and what's it called?
Smoke and Bones? No, what's it called? Shadow and Bone.
Smoke and Mirrors. Shadow and Bone. I don't know.
Smoke and Bone.
Smoke and Bone. Shadow and Bone.
That sounds like the new Netflix and chill. Smoke and Bone.
Yeah. Drugs and sex. Yeah. So I've done a little bit more of that, and it's still wholly interesting enough. Because it's got a few little twists and turns in it, and the good guy who's supposed to be a good guy, he's not a good guy, he's an evil guy. So yeah, it's keeping it, and there's some really interesting, good characters in there. So it's keep me going. So but that's about it for me in terms of.
Well, on Netflix shows, I dipped my toe in the waters of Jupiter's Legacy last week.
Ooh. And
so far, I mean, the first episode kind of is very establishy. It's not overly clear on terms of there's a few details that it doesn't expressly kind of go aha. And you're like, okay, it sort of tells you without telling you sort of thing because the the first scene is like some kids playing, and then one of them like superpowers, and they're like, "Oh Jesus, superpowers, run away!" And then their dad flies in. Is like, "Why are you using your powers?" And then he like zooms off and does superhero stuff. And then it cuts to like the present day, and it's like they start talking about, "Oh, remember 60 years, remember 90 years ago when we were doing this." It's like, but this guy like looks, like he's in his late 60s, and you're like, 90 years, but how? And then it's like they sort of through dialogue establish they've been alive for like 120 years or something. It doesn't sort of go, "Oh, this was set back in the blah, blah, blah," until you get a flashback seeing them in like 1929 or something, or 1829, and they're just like running around the stock market, and it's like, "Oh, I see, these people live longer lives because superpowers." It doesn't ever sort of expressly tell you that, and it took me a while to kind of click with that. Oh, I see that. Okay, but yeah, it's good. I mean, it's kind of, I don't want to say it's like The Boys because it's not in that same kind of vein of like, yeah, well, The Boys, we've all seen it. It's just, oh Jesus.
Yeah.
But it has that. It's a more kind of mature superhero thing. Because in the first episode, a few people get killed, and it's not like a screen from off screen. It's like you see them get their head chopped off. It's not like afraid of showing a bit of gore, but it's not as crude as The Boys in the way it's done. So yeah, I've only watched the first episode, but it's interesting. I'm not sure where it's gonna go because again, the first episode is very establishing and kind of like, here's the universe, here are some of the people you'll probably be seeing fairly regularly, and then it just kind of
All right.
Yeah.
I've seen it and thought,
The only reason I know it exists is because someone I watch on YouTube is in it, and I was like, "Oh, I'll give that a go."
Oh.
Because she's been promoting the hell out of it. So.
you had a chance to look at the new Love, Death and Robots.
I have
Oh, yeah.
watched it
Have you?
all.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Already done it all.
There's only
Yeah.
8 episodes.
There's
I think,
only
is
8
there?
episodes,
Yeah.
not 18 like last time.
Yeah.
The budget is going down, not.
Maybe it was COVID related.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Could
But yeah, again, cracking animation all the way throughout, and the storytelling is amazing. I feel like some of the stories are a little bit cookie cutter in the sense that you've got like 2 episodes which are beware the machines. Something will go wrong and they'll try and kill you. One's done for jokes, one's done as more of a serious like isolation thing.
Yeah.
But it's another good series. It's a fun watch. Unlike last time where I was a bit more surprised by the twists that some of the stories took. And I engaged with the first series a lot more on the episodes that I liked. Obviously there's more variety last time and there's like over double the episodes. But episodes 3, 4, and 6 were really nice. Episode 6 did exactly what I wanted it to do, even though I thought it wasn't going to do it for a split second. And it's a really short episode as well. It's 7 minutes long.
Wow.
And it's a pretty good episode. I found that quite good.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
definitely worth
I need to
watch.
dive into that at some point when I have a day off. That's to be my first port call. I think just blast.
Yeah, I
through
might
that
get
in
all
an
of them.
afternoon.
Start watching them. But,
Yeah, definitely do it.
Very good.
very good. I mean, the first season had some fantastic bits in it and some great animation. Some really good. I mean, some good dialogue bits because they can use grown-up dialogue.
Yeah.
But yeah, just and it's the variety that I love. It's the variety of story styles and approaches. I think it's just marvelous. I hope they keep this going because I haven't done much research in terms of who's actually doing it, like the film houses and the directors, but I'm assuming it's smaller concerns that just doing these kind of shorts, and it's a great platform for doing that sort of stuff.
Yeah, I don't know about all the studios, but I know Blur Studios has done an awful lot of work, and they are quite big. But
Yeah,
right.
they're
I mean-
smaller in terms of you probably haven't heard of them, but they're probably still massive in terms
yeah,
of
they've done
industry scale.
so much work.
Yeah.
It's crazy in so many industries. So I already knew about them like 10 years ago, but like the fact that everything they do is always like top of the line, like completely 3D rendered, like cinematics and different things like that.
So
Just
good.
the amount of versatility that they have is amazing. Like you'll get to see some of that in this series as well as what was in the first series. That they can turn their hand to pretty much anything. It feels
Yeah.
like.
It's incredible stuff.
I'm looking forward to that then.
Yeah.
All right.
Do, yeah.
Sam, I know you're not pretty animation, but recommend
It's
it.
definitely worth a go because some of the stories alone are really
Storytelling is
Storytelling. That's always top notch. Doesn't matter whether you like the story, like in terms of what it had to tell you. The way it tells it is always good.
Mhm.
Always really gripping.
always.
high praise coming from Elliot.
Yeah.
So yeah, I've got to catch up with that. But
Definitely.
yeah, it's sitting in the inbox waiting.
Good.
So anyone with anything else?
I could do anime news.
I mean, I've got a sort of anime
You
type
do,
thing, I guess,
yes.
as well.
Well, let's have
Do
the
you want to go
anime
first,
section.
Elliot? Or
I'll go first,
You
and
go
then
first.
so we'll go more and more eastern.
We'll go further east. Okay, I like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've been watching Legend of Korra because I loved watching Avatar, the
The series,
Last Airbender,
not the film.
the,
God,
s-
curse
the
the film.
series. Yeah, because like I watch a few writing channels and they started recommending the hell out of it a couple years ago, and I was like, this is something I never got to watch as a kid, never watched Nickelodeon. So if people like in their 20s and 30s are still banging on about how good the writing is, I need to just see what this is all about. So I did, and it was amazing last year. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Very good show. Sort of crosses that line of being good for adults as well as good for kids, but you have to sort of get through a few of the season 1 episodes where you're like, this is really aimed down here in terms of age range rather than sort of where we are. But again, the arcs were really good. So I had a lot of apprehension going into Korra because although it's meant to be for like teens up, sort of as the baseline for age range, I thought, how can they possibly top or continue what they'd done before? And pleased to say that the first series is very good. Very good. Really liked it. Second series, we'll see where that goes. They kind of put themselves in a bit of a corner with the setup of this new story. As the main character is kind of, I can do everything, a bit of a Mary Sue. But they managed to pull it off in the first series quite well. They managed to provide enough sort of conflict and development that that she isn't just completely just the one-man army that it's portrayed that she might be in the very first episode in the first like 2 minutes. So again, very good, pleasantly surprised.
Cool. Yeah, I'm after hearing you talk about it over the last couple of days, I'm kind of thinking maybe I should watch it because I've seen the animation on it, and the animation alone is really good compared to the Avatar series. It's like a step up from that.
Yeah, it really is.
And if the story holds up, then
yep. I mean, the animation studio, was it in Korea, South Korea?
yeah, Korea.
I think, yeah, their work. 'Cause obviously, it was a new studio. It looks like it's the same company, and it's made up of a lot of the same people that worked on the first show. But it's really good stuff, particularly how they match all the fighting styles of different things. I mean, I'm being deliberately very vague about the show in general here, because in case people want to watch it. But just as a summary, with all the different nations that make up the fictional world, there are 4 different types: earth, wind, fire, and air. And each one
Earth,
is
Wind, Fire, and
based...
Water. You said air twice.
Oh, God. I said the one twice. Anyway, thank you. Each one of the like bending on like magic of being able to control each of these elements is based off a different type of fighting style, like kung fu or different things like that.
Water's Tai Chi, I think, isn't it? It's meant to be Tai Chi.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so seeing how they incorporate all these different martial arts into the show and create fight scenes that are really dynamic, considering anime and cartoons are usually on a budget of, let's just have one pose and just make them lip flap do this for like 2 seconds, 3 seconds, however long it needs.
Streaky stuff, so they're going.
Yeah, well, it's showing. Yeah, it's doing as much like motion as you can with as little work as possible, so then you can make
there's
more
an
of it.
awful lot of motion. Yeah. Very clever budget and use of 3D as well.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm done.
I might jump on that at some point, but we'll see. Because I'll do that afterwards. But I finished Parasyte. Little dip at the end where I was like, go on here, and then I thought the last episode was good. I don't know if there's another series of it. I think there is, but it kind of ends in a way where it's like, okay, that's done. So if there is another series, it clearly starts off somewhere else. The last episode was good. It was a nice round off. There's a bit where you think one of like the last of the main characters like basically the main character's love interest. She thinks she's died, and it's like, oh, no, not another person dying that this guy's connected to. And then it's like, oh no, it's okay. The day was saved. Blah, blah, blah. So that kind of ended quite nicely. I was content with the ending, but towards the end it kind of wavers a little bit. It starts off really strong, and then kind of goes whoop. But after that, I did start a series which I'm only an episode or two into, and then I went on to Netflix last night, I think, to watch more of it. And series 2 of Kuroko's Basketball is on Netflix. So I'm on that again because it's just so good, and I couldn't tell you why. It's just so it's like cocaine for your eyes. I just can't stop watching it. It's so good. And I could not tell you what keeps me watching it at all. So I'm back on that again. Sorry. My not quite superhero basketball, where they all have like abilities that don't really make any sense. So yeah, I'm back on that again, which I think is about as far into anime weirdness as I could probably go. A series about basketball players who just like can jump really high and can shoot from like the other end of the court without missing every time. Yeah, it's just so good. And the main character's like developing new skills. He's got a thing. He's got an ability now where he's got his what they call it, the vanishing drive, where he can get past any player because he just like teleports behind them. It doesn't actually explain what he does. He just kind of goes boosh, and then is behind them, and then it's like, yeah, whoa, he's unstoppable. It's just
like I say, it's like the Harlem Globetrotters on speed and acid, isn't it?
With a super soldier serum from Captain America, basically. It's so good.
I'm becoming more and more tempted the more you're describing it. Yeah, there you go.
So yeah, that's what I've been watching. I need anime is quite good because they're short episodes. So if I don't have much time, I can just have a couple and be sorted for the evening. So yeah, that's what I'm on.
All right.
Fantastic.
Right then. See you same time next week.
Indeed.
Yep. All right then. Goodbye.